Sharon, in the introduction part, I didn't catch any filler words, just a couple of stumbles over words. You had crow over crowding, and then our discuss participants. But then at the end, when you were summarizing and reading and trying to summarize and read at the same time, that's where the filler words came out. I counted 7 ahs, 5 let's see, while you were looking at the thing, let's see, what should this be next? And about 4 all rights. There are also a few so to summarize, so thank you, so once again, that you probably could have cut out. If that ums and ahs were your favorites today, you had more than 10 of each. And I separated them because the ums were kind of a pause, and then the ahs were mid-sentence. You had that and you have sort of incorporate both of those. So, I don't know, the slow down, maybe the stretching, maybe allow you to think so that you don't have to use the filler words. There were a couple of basicallys as well. I think I counted 3 uses of basically, which probably doesn't really add to the sentence much at all. And meet, I had 2 so's at the start of sentences that didn't need to be there. Just 1 and I started noticing maybes. There were about 4 maybes. And you were proposing ideas, which is okay, but the repetition of that word that doesn't really add too much. It's a little bit distracting. Jos, quite a few repetitions, I, it's, when you're thinking out loud. And is another one that you do. You start a new sentence, go, and, where you didn't need that. You could have just stopped and started again. About 3 ums, and I counted 6 you knows in yours that probably weren't needed. And also a couple of I mean. Jim, you have very soft uhs. They're not really a full word. They're kind of and I counted about 13 altogether. And a couple of repetitions. It's, this.
For Sharon's introduction, she wanted 3 to 4 minutes, and you were right in the middle with 3:28. Your conclusion was 5.5 minutes. You wanted 4 to 6, so again, you were right in there. And I won't read the times for all of the speeches. I was timing them at 1 minute, actually 40 to 60 seconds, and they ranged from 41 seconds to 1:37. And the total time for the whole thing was 33 minutes.
In the interest of time, I'm just going to summarize some of the more general issues. And I evaluated Amit, Isveta, and Vichy. Excuse me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. So with Amit, one of the issues was the stops like P, B, D, and C at the beginning of words often does not have the puff of air. It's like buff instead of puff. So these American stops are normally much more aspirated, and that's an area to focus on, like the word part or caused. I can't read my writing on that one. Okay, also the W's and V's tend to get mixed a little bit and are very similar on words like weather or wind is more like sort of weather or wind. Let's see, I have my glasses on. Okay, also a really important thing is lengthening vowels and syllables. And a couple of instances were caused, where it was a shorter sort of caused instead of caused. And really is another word that really needed to be elongated. And then you also did some R rolling, just slightly rolled your R's in words like really and research. But then you also had some slightly British R's, like first and person, just not quite an It needs to be more of a first and person. And that is when, well, I don't want to go into too much detail for the issue of time, and I'm sure Rebecca's covered a lot of this. Okay, another thing to think about is that sometimes your THs, which were voiced, turn a little bit into a D, like they, those, and that might be closer to they, those, and that. And just a general focusing on elongating the syllables. And then, oh yes, also a couple of words had incorrect stress. Differently should have been differently, and committed is committed. And then some words like organization, committing, and killer. Another habit that's very common with native Indian speakers is to have all the stress equal on each syllable, which pretty much never happens in American English. Okay, so that's the main points for Amit and Isveta. The main issues were your R's were sometimes trilled, Occasionally you had a British R like in served, but in general the issue was more with it being more like first instead of first. And even your initial R's, such as in returning and restoring, words like that, needed to be the softer, curved back tongue that does not touch the roof of the mouth. That's the thing to remember. Okay, also focusing on elongating vowels in words such as jobs and stop. It's a long sound. And then another thing is your H's. They have a little bit of a CH, a sound, rather than totally open. There should be no obstruction at all in the H in words such as help, who, have. Okay, and then also you had a little bit of an issue with the THs that were voiced tending towards a D in words like they, the, and that. And another thing was schwas. Some of the words you pronounce the actual vowel as you saw it, like you might say today, and it's today, t. The schwa sound is the first consonant because it's not stressed. Okay, can you tell me if I'm getting too long here? I'm almost there. Another is another example. You tend to do a little bit of another. And victim is a little bit elongated. It should be victim. Okay, so those were, oh, and the last one I really wanted to mention was the ing endings. You tend to do the G unvoiced, say understanding, rather than understanding. Or the thing is, you might say as the think. So that's another one to focus on.